This is the FDNY!
The fire department is a civil service agency that protects life and property of the people of New York City. It's not easy to be a New York City firefighter. You have to do things that most people don't do. In the academy is a lot different than a firehouse because here it's a constant training day. It simulates everything that they're going to learn out in the field. The hardest part for most people is we take them into a house filled with smoke and teach them what a real life fire situation is. It teaches them how to become a basic firefighter. They're learning all the different aspects of the job. They do physical fitness every day. They do hands-on training of different firefighter scenarios, like learning how to use the tools that we use, how to climb ladders, how to stretch hose line, how to use the axes and the saws. They specialize in hazmat operations, firematics, which is extinguishing the fire, weapons of mass destruction, emergency response, CFRD, which is medical responding, everything that you need when you go out to the field. They don't respond from here. They learn here. They're here for 6 months. It's like going to school. And then they graduate from here and they go out to the firehouse. It's called bunker gear, and what it is, it protects you from burns from your feet throughout. We have that's pants, boots, and a coat. We have protective hoods that protect our head and our ears. We have face pieces, Scott cylinders that are filled with purified air that protect our lungs from heat and smoke, and helmets to protect our head from falling objects. Well, the most important thing, I think, is the use of the mask. 30 years ago, firefighters wouldn't even wear a mask. They went to burning buildings, and it affected their lungs as they got older.
In order to leave here and graduate, you have to be proficient at the mask. You have to be able to operate it normal, operate it if you get stuck, operate it if it malfunctions. Okay, you have to be able to respond to all of these different things.
Now, being able to, breathe clean air when you're in an environment that's smoke-filled, it protects you not only now but future life.
We thought we were pretty well prepared, but I don't think anybody was prepared for that. And what we've done since then is, in a way of like communications and equipment, we've given our guys radiation detection equipment, things like that, and it gives us the ability to fight almost any type of incident that comes along. So.
Well, like I said, before 9/11, people never really understood the fire department did a lot without a lot of equipment. All the chiefs that were working here that day went to the trade center, to the actual scene of the incident. And because that happened, a lot of them never made it home that day. So one of the lessons that we learned was, in order to keep the chief from going to the scene of the fire or whatever the hazardous condition is, by having this command center here, we keep them here and they can monitor from here. We have cameras set up in the field comm units. We have a tactical unit which allows us to send a truck to an actual fire and put cameras, 5 remote cameras in different buildings to look down on a fire. We can also monitor the handy-talkie transmissions. Handy-talkie is a radio that the firemen use actually in the fire. And by monitoring those handy-talkie transmissions, we can tell whether it sounds like it's going to escalate into something worse, or you can tell by the voices whether it's, whether they're going to put the fire under control. So we get a lot of that information right away. Whereas we didn't always get it that quickly.
We're going to be able to send information to the guys fighting the fire based on information we get from other agencies. They're going to be able to get things like floor plans and use them when they're fighting the fire, so things like that. But more importantly, the communications is the biggest asset, the biggest improvement.
7 years ago, a lot of this stuff didn't exist. We got grants from the federal government after 9/11, and all the people saw what happened, how all the firemen were going in there, not knowing where they were going. Now they gave us all these resources, which has helped us tremendously.
That's really just administrative. That's where all the top chiefs and everybody that runs the department makes all the vital decisions.
Our job is to keep the high-level chiefs informed of what's going on anywhere in the city. What we do here in the FOC, we have, each borough has their own dispatcher. Anytime somebody calls 911 for a fire, they give them to our dispatcher and they send out a box. A box is the box number here, and it tells us the street address, the time the incident came in, the location. Every day, the chiefs that work up on the upper floors, the staff chiefs, we call them, they're the highest level chiefs in the department. We give them daily reports. Our daily reports consist of all the fire activity in the whole city, accidents, injuries to anybody, whether they got sick while they were at work. I think there's about 8,000 or 9,000 firemen and about 12,000 officers throughout the 5 boroughs. And it's a lot of people to keep track of, so they have more than one person doing each job. But there's a tremendous amount of information that comes into this office, and our job is to cipher through what's important, what's not, and make sure that the right people get that information. It's amazing how much stuff we actually get every day. Phone calls, probably 200-300 phone calls a day, and how many calls we make, I couldn't even tell you. We have 4 or 5 guys on the phone pretty much all day. They call us the communication center, and that's what we're all about. We take this information in, we sort it out, and we make sure that the right people get it.
I see here in New York City there are several motives. Probably the most common is maybe domestic violence, but there is arson for profit, there is pyromania, there are many motives, but one of our most common motives is domestic violence. Basically like an archaeological dig. We remove layers of debris and get down to the bottom, and that kind of brings us back in time to the time that the fire originated. We trace back the pattern of fire travel from the area of least amount of damage to the area of greatest amount of damage, and generally that's the area where the fire originated or began. And at that area we look for sources of potential ignition. We eliminate electrical, we eliminate possibly candle or careless smoking. We use interviews, we interview occupants, firefighters. If there is a gasoline container left at the scene, we can recover that, send it to the laboratory for analysis. They can tell us what type of gasoline or accelerant was used. They could possibly test that particular container for fingerprints or DNA evidence, which can lead us to a suspect. And based on all those pieces of information put together, we come up with the conclusion as to how that fire started and why it started.